Have you always wanted to start your own business? Do you have an innovative idea or an invention, but just don't know how to turn it into a company? Are you already in business and need some help growing? The BRF's Entrepreneurial Accelerator Program can help. At EAP, we work alongside you, helping you with things like financial modeling, funding strategy, pitch preparation, and marketing strategy. So what are you waiting for? Go to eapla.com today and set up a time to talk with our team. Let EAP help you launch or grow your business in North Louisiana today.
Okay, welcome back to On the Cusp. With me is my co-host, Matt Snyder. And here today is Quentin Durr with Catalyst, which is an accelerator in Monroe, and business development with Origin Bank.
Yes, sir.
You wear lots of hats.
Many hats.
Yeah, and you and I go back probably 4 years.
We do.
When we EAP had a EDA grant, and you came to us and you said you wanted to launch an accelerator in Monroe, kind of like what we were doing, and we said that we think that's a great idea. And since then, you and I have teamed up on multiple entrepreneurial ideas.
I would tell this, I kind of stalked Dave. That's kind of what happened. Like, it was me and a couple of group, and we were like, we got to pull our resources together, and what are we going to do? And I actually went to, that time, the chancellor of Louisiana Delta Community College, Epps.
Right.
And he said, hey, I'm with you, I'll back you, but only if you go to Shreveport and get EAP support. Then I got into the world of all the acronyms, right? Like, who's EAP and BRF and SBA and LED and,
you want a hard job as a marketing guy? You're like, I was like, wait, y'all just got a bunch of letters everywhere?
Absolutely.
We got to brand this?
Yeah.
Which is why we just
he went different. He went with it with Catalyst. He went with the name.
Okay.
Good
job.
I was like, I need something I can spell and remember. And it's just a word.
But talk about your journey with Catalyst. I mean, what got you started going down that path?
So with Origin Bank, I was transitioning from being a business lender to business development because I felt there was a strong need of how do we identify resources, and if we're going to be a trusted advisor, I need to be aware of not only what loans and deposits, but what real business resources are available, because most clients are like, I'm having issues with workforce development, I'm having issues with trying to find a guarantee program. And so I'm like, I'm going to set out and try to research and find all the resources so that I can provide my clients, advice and steer them in the right direction.
That's so interesting to me, because as an entrepreneur, I think, and me and you have talked offline on this, the banking side to a new entrepreneur can be extremely frustrating, and I believe at times
scary.
Can stop entrepreneurs with good ideas and good intention, and they finally talk themselves to go that far, and then the bank kills them.
Right.
And so to hear a bank guy talk about going and helping find other, I mean, that's exciting.
Well, we also knew from a banking side is because that became the big bad bank mentality was, we've got to do a better job of educating people on when you actually need a loan versus equity, what that looks like, when is an appropriate time to borrow money to start a business, and that starting a business is hard. And there's not free money or a grant that's sitting there for you just to go get and start a business and hope it works. There's real work and research and what's your break-even point. And, we're not asking this because we're mean and we don't want to give you the money, but we're protecting our depositors, which is what we lend off of. So we're protecting our customer base.
And banks got to be better on, I mean, I think also like a bank has a lot of roles, and one is lending.
Yeah.
But the other is just setting up basic business accounting, accounts, and all that stuff. And I'll be perfectly honest with you. When I never asked a bank for $1, and the bank was still really not very helpful. It's oh, what's your idea? Oh, really? We're the expert. We're the bank. And it's like, I think banks, if a bank fits a very important role, a bank should be like us. They should be pumped when any person walks in that door and wants to start a new account for anything.
Well, it's a relationship.
It is a relationship, and we have a good relationship with Origin Bank.
Right.
Okay, to where people walk into Origin Bank all the time and they look at them and say, well, you're really not ready for us.
Yeah.
Okay. And it goes to that entrepreneurial ecosystem where it's a great idea,
Yeah.
but you need to get ready. And then what I tell entrepreneurs is, no, I'm not ready for you to go to Origin yet.
Yeah, that's where an
okay?
EAP is so valuable.
Right.
too.
You're,
And
you're,
the
you're not
catalyst.
ready.
Like,
I don't want an entrepreneur to go to an investor or a bank when they're not ready.
But
Right.
I'll give a real story, and this is where I've tried to blend the two. A bank and a banker is like an umbrella. I almost thought of like toilet paper, but it's like this. You can't wait till you need it,
Right.
because then it's too late.
Right.
So you want to have and that relationship doesn't mean a lending. That means open up a business
Yeah.
account, finding a relationship manager.
And find a relationship that works.
Yeah, and
on
them,
both sides.
Them understanding your journey. I had a client that left a big company. They basically built microchips for computer drive for chip mills, right? And so that's very specialized. But I knew their story from the day they left to him going to work off seas to coming back with the capital. And I was along the whole way. So that
Yeah.
moment they got that first $1 million paper machine and needed a loan for $500,000 to front the pieces, we were able to do it because we were comfortable with the
Right.
story. Not if he just would have showed up and said,
Yeah.
I need $500,000 because I build these computers, it would have been.
It would have been a very
it'd been a different
difficult-
story.
It would have
You
been a
know,
very
so
difficult
That
journey.
relationship along the way is so important.
Absolutely. Well, I always say if your banker doesn't know where your children go to school, you're probably banking at the wrong place.
Yeah. You know, I challenge every banker too. Have you, and in the business, has your banker been to your business? Have they been on site?
I
Do
might
they
need
really
a new
know?
bank again.
Well,
You know, it's just relationship building. I've done that a lot. I've been there like, so has your current bank actually seen your facility and know what you're doing?
And it's so interesting now in the days of like, used to as a business owner, you were in your bank a lot.
Right.
You know,
Yes.
like
Right.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
can
go
do a
to,
lot
I go to my bank
remotely.
maybe a couple of times a year.
yeah,
at
you
this
can
point,
bank
you know, like-
remotely all you want, but
Yeah.
still, when it comes that time, you got to have that relationship with the
Yeah.
right banker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, I work at the bank and I hardly go to the bank. So that should
Yeah.
tell you where technology is taking
right.
it.
So where's Catalyst now?
So, the quick story is we started in 19, we ramped up in 4
Ramped up,
months.
boom, COVID.
hit.
Oh.
We have to shut the doors. We pivot. We end up forming a partnership with the city of Monroe. We move into the Benoit Recreational Center on the south side of Monroe there. They help us revamp the facility. We have a nice podcast facility, which I'm a little jealous of y'all's lighting, but we're getting there. Conference room. We have some workspace now, so we kind of have a foundation to start getting built on. We launched a couple other podcast studios because that's been our awareness of how do we just get in community, bring technology to Farmerville and Origin Bank. We have a podcast room there, so I'm having to explain what a podcast is and how it's useful. But once people are starting to see, like, okay, how this can, use, and you're a marketing guy, right? Social media is the free distribution, so you can use this stuff to push a narrative, which isn't done in typical rural areas.
that's
so
interesting.
That's what we try to do there.
I got to go back though. Hold on. I heard something that we're always talking about. How does the region get better? You started this, and you said something about partnering with the city. And how many months of opening the doors?
Yeah. We that went back to relationship because Friday Ellis actually helped us found Catalyst before he was mayor.
Right.
And
Before he
nobody
was
called you
mayor.
a crook?
No.
Oh,
So,
man.
our and one of our pillars with Catalyst is collaborate. And that's always been the deal. Like even coming to Shreveport was like, we want to be one of the first ones to say, look, we're not competing with Shreveport. Like what Dave and y'all have going on, I don't want to do. I want to be able to make our people aware of what resources are available because I got over here in an hour this morning. It's not that far of a drive.
It's not.
That is what we
know.
want to promote, though. You had a relationship with a guy that became the mayor of Monroe.
Right.
You were doing something good for that community.
Yep.
He saw it. He jumped into action, gave you assets and resources to get better.
Right.
And you're moving along the road.
Yep.
And you're bettering your community because of it.
Yep.
That is important.
And that's what you would hope
That's
should
what-
be the way. And I
That
know
should be the way.
That's
Yeah.
not always the case.
That should be the way.
Politics sometimes can,
And you
get
got a
little
big
hairy.
announcement coming up here pretty quick, don't you?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and say it because it's official. It's been announced from DRA. But so I guess once we kind of got our feet on the ground, and after COVID, we transitioned. One of the biggest issues has been workforce development. And so now we've started kind of identifying how do we connect, once again, resource providers, aka that's community college, workforce training groups, because here's a pot of money in IWTP that you can go get if you've been in business for 3 years and go train and upscale your people. So that helps with recruitment and retention. And this is the most underutilized fund there is in the state. And so we were like, let's utilize this to help grow existing companies, kind of an accelerator portion.
So people know it's Delta Regional Authority is where.
Yeah, DRA. So we applied for some grants. We went after some EDA funding and also some DRA, Delta Regional Authority. And we recently got announced we are a recipient for $150,000 to help build a workforce pipeline in microelectronics. Now, I have another guy that's kind of spearheading that, which y'all would have to bring him on if y'all want to dive deep into that. But the idea is Monroe in our region is heavy in manufacturing, especially plastics manufacturing, and there is an opportunity there to help build out our workforce that we currently have that could then assist into this new industry with all this CHIPS Act money and all these different innovation centers being open and stuff like that. So that's kind of the goal there.
That is big.
The fact that you're able to use your knowledge from the banking side and deliver that to entrepreneurs in your community is extremely admirable from an entrepreneur. Like, I really think that is such a unique offer and is so cool. Monroe's lucky to have you.
Well, I appreciate it. And truthfully, I always say I'm not a banker. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. My dad, self-employed. My grandma's 93, still doing bookkeeping. My brother's self-employed. I graduated at tech and entrepreneurship. Lord was blessed me in a position to go into banking. I started off straight as a loan officer, which if you know anything about banking, that doesn't happen. Just right place, right time situation that worked. But it allowed me a unique thing to start working with companies and see different things and continue to build my skill set and knowledge, and now just to share that. And I'm not, our goal at Catalyst.
But you truly are a regional kind of guy, because you never know. You might be in Ruston today, but you're in Farmerville tomorrow. You're in Monroe the next day. Okay, I mean, you have really embraced the region. Okay, there and done a lot of great things, because I think Farmerville even has its own accelerator now and prototyping facility.
That's something we're working on too. And the goal was, I'm a product of North Louisiana. I was born in Natchitoches. I was raised in Shreveport. My dad was in the chicken business, so we moved around. Ended up in Farmerville, where there was a ConAgra plant at the time. Went to Tech, so there's my Ruston. Had a bunch of friends in Monroe, so I'm just familiar with the area, so I have loyalty to the whole. Every city has.
I think you got
memories
married
for me.
recently too.
I did. I got married, and we have she actually runs a marketing company, and I'll help kind of consult with the strategy portion, but that's just that video viral content stuff, and that's exploded. So that's kind of opened up some doors, and also some vision of how do you get the message out. So it all still kind of plays in synergy with everything. So it's been a wild ride last 12 months.
It's a great success story. Now, we're big into, the BRF believes in the fact that I-20, okay, anything good happening on I-20 is good for the region, and you and the Catalyst team were part of that, and y'all had that same vision. If we could get more and more people to come in and support that effort, gosh, there's unlimited potential there.
I love what you said, and you said something that made me think a lot, and I've never heard it in any of these conversations. You said you're a product of the area. We do a lot of talking about I'm from Shreveport, or I'm from here, or I live here, and it's a good place to live. But seeing it like that, like I'm gonna put that into my mind, because we are a product, and I fight hard for the region, and I believe in it, and it's my why, and I care. But that is the right way to put it. I'm a product of this place, whether for the good and for the bad and all that, and that is That is special. So I appreciate you.
Well, I mean,
you
it's
putting
just
that
that
together.
real love for, I mean, I have memories in Shreveport. My grandma lives in Natchitoches, and I grew up on that brick road when she did bookkeeping. And I walked those brick roads as a child to being in Farmville and putting on the fireworks for the last 12 years.
You
know?
have done that, that's
and,
true.
And that's a big event, and I have a client base out there that I got so much love for because they helped me develop as well as help them too with the relationships in Monroe and everything trying to going on. It's just like, this world's not that big. Like, it's not that big of a drive. I'm in Ruston, I can be in Bastrop in an hour, in Shreveport an hour, in Natchitoches in an hour and 15, depending on how quick I drive. So, you know, it's a radius. So.
Dang. Well, Quentin, thank you so much for
That's
coming.
awesome.
This is great news. Congratulations on the grant for Catalyst and that. And
You're my favorite bank guy I know.
Well,
yeah, appreciate it.
just give me a coffee, you need something.
Thanks, guys.